Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about the war surrounding Iran and about what may actually be happening behind the scenes. Because if you look closely at the pattern of recent events, the questions may not simply be about military strikes or regional escalation. The real questions might be much bigger. Is Iran being pushed toward regime change? And more importantly, how could such a strategy actually work? Let me start with the central idea. In my view, what we are seeing may not simply be a military campaign against Iran's capabilities. It may be a systematic pressure campaign aimed at the political structure of the Iranian state itself. Now, some people might say this is nothing new. Even at the beginning of the operation, Donald Trump openly talked about the possibility of regime change in Iran. And that's true. But what is more interesting is how such an outcome could actually be forced. If we look at the pattern of events, one thing becomes noticeable. The strikes are not limited to military infrastructure. Increasingly, they target key figures inside the political and military system. And something even more interesting is happening. In several cases, newly appointed officials replacing eliminated leaders have themselves quickly become targets. If this pattern continues, it sends a powerful message. The issue may not be a specific leader. The issue may be the system itself. Because when every new leader becomes vulnerable almost immediately, the system begins to look increasingly unsustainable. Eventually, elites inside the country may start asking a different questions. Not who should become the next leader, but whether the system itself can survive. This also challenges a popular argument. Some analysts claim that the United States and Israel miscalculated, that they expected a quick collapse of the Iranian regime. But in my view, that interpretation seems overly simplistic. We are talking about countries with extremely powerful intelligence services, strategic planning institutions, and decades of experience analyzing Iran. It's unlikely that such a campaign would be built purely on hopes of the quick victory. Instead, we may be witnessing a long-term pressure strategy, and the strategy operates on several levels: military, political, and economic. The economic dimension is especially important. Iran was already facing serious economic difficulties before the escalation. There were protests linked to inflation, declining living standards, and long-standing structural problems in the economy. Under those conditions, further economic disruptions can dramatically increase internal pressure on the political leadership. And historically, economic crisis often becomes the catalyst for the political change. But there is another question we should ask. Why have such scenarios become possible in today's international system?